God says you've been wondering why someone who clearly feels something for you can't seem to step fully into the place where his heart is trying to lead him. You've asked God more than once why he keeps showing signs of affection, why he looks at you in ways he doesn't look at anyone else, why his whole energy changes when you enter a room, yet still there is another woman present in the shadows of his life. And you feel that tension, not because you're trying to take something that isn't yours, but because you can sense, deep down, that something about this connection is spiritual, unusual, destined, aligned, and more powerful than he's willing to admit right now. God sees the confusion in your heart. He sees the way you try to stand strong, to remain calm, to trust his timing even when it feels like you're standing on shifting ground. And today God wants to speak to you about what's truly happening beneath the surface, because it's deeper than what your eyes can see and more complicated than what your mind has been able to understand. He is falling for you. That part is real. That part is undeniable. God has been whispering it to your spirit in moments when you weren't even trying to think about him. You've felt the shift, the pull, the warmth, the recognition. His soul is leaning toward yours in ways he doesn't even fully realize yet. But at the same time, there is someone else in the picture. Not because she holds his heart the way you imagine, and not because she is the love of his life, but because she represents something familiar, something safe, something he can understand without having to transform. And transformation, this is what God wants you to see, is the very thing that scares him most. Your presence awakens something in him. Something he cannot explain, something he cannot control. Something that feels both terrifying and magnetic. You are a mirror. You reflect back to him his potential, his purpose, his truth, his unhealed wounds, and his deepest desires. And some men are not immediately ready for the kind of love that requires them to evolve. They cling to the woman who is attached to their old version. Not because she is the one, but because she does not require change. She fits the pattern. She fits the comfort zone. She fits the life he's already built, even if that life is too small for him now. God wants you to understand that the presence of another woman is not a sign of your inadequacy, your lack, or your failure. It's not a reflection of something she has that you don't. It is simply evidence of his hesitation, of his internal conflict, of his unwillingness to release what is familiar in order to step into what is divinely aligned. And God is saying, don't internalize his confusion as your worth. Don't misinterpret his delay as rejection. Don't assume that his inability to choose you right now means he doesn't feel anything. Sometimes delay is the clearest sign that someone is wrestling with something far bigger than emotions. He is wrestling with transformation. His heart knows one thing, but his comfort zone knows another. His spirit is drawn to you, but his fear is drawn to what feels predictable. And God is standing between all three forces, your heart, his heart, and the strange triangle of spiritual reality, and God is telling you that He has not abandoned this situation. He is not unaware of the way it affects you. He is not blind to your tears, your questions, your hope, your frustration, your desire for clarity. God is saying, I'm working in a space you cannot see yet. The pieces are moving. The truth is being exposed. The attachments that no longer belong are being loosened. The chains that kept him in patterns are beginning to crack. But the process is happening within him before it can ever happen around him. There is something about you that forces him to be honest with himself. He can't pretend with you. He can't hide behind excuses the way he does with others. You call out the real version of him without speaking a word. Your presence confronts the parts of him he's been avoiding. You remind him of who he could become, not who he has been. And that kind of spiritual impact doesn't just make a man fall in love. Sometimes it makes him run, not because he doesn't want you, but because he doesn't yet feel worthy of you. God wants you to know that this other woman is not his soulmate. She is part of his story, not his destiny. She represents a chapter, not the ending. And sometimes, before a man can step into alignment with the woman who is meant for his spirit, he must first recognize the emotional dead ends he has been tolerating. He must see the truth for himself. He must awaken from the illusions he settled into. You can't do that awakening for him. You can't force clarity into him. You can't accelerate his spiritual growth. Only God can do that, but something important is happening. The more he falls for you, the more he realizes that the way he's been living is not sustainable. The more he feels toward you, the more obvious it becomes that he has been hiding inside a connection that no longer nourishes him. He doesn't want to hurt her. He doesn't want to hurt you. He doesn't want to admit that his indecision is hurting both of you. And so he stays in between, suspended in the tension of two worlds, the future calling him, and the past gripping him. God wants you to know that this is not your burden to carry. You are not meant to fight for a place in his life. You are not meant to compete with anyone. You are not meant to chase reassurance or prove your worth. God is saying, stand still. Stay grounded. Stay in your dignity. Your presence alone is already awakening everything in him that needs to awaken. You are not losing anything. You are not being replaced. You are simply being positioned. God is aligning you with purpose, not chaos. The other woman senses something too. She may not know the details, but she feels the shift. She feels the distance in his spirit even if his body is still present. She feels the hesitation he can't hide. She feels the emotional cracks forming in the connection. And sometimes God allows that season of discomfort not to punish anyone but to reveal truth. God is pulling back the curtain on every connection that is misaligned. God is exposing every attachment that has been built on fear, convenience, obligation, or denial. God is dismantling everything that is not rooted in truth. And you, God is asking you to focus not on Him, not on her, but on yourself. You are being elevated. You are being refined. You are being prepared for a love that matches who you are becoming. You are not meant to shrink to match his confusion. You are not meant to dim your spirit to make room for someone who has not yet decided who he wants to be. You are meant to stand in the fullness of your worth while God works in the hidden parts of His heart. This connection is not random. It is not accidental. It is not meaningless. But it is also not meant to consume your peace. God is handling the things you cannot. God is confronting the things He's afraid to face. God is giving him dreams, signs, inner convictions he cannot ignore. His spirit is waking up. His excuses are weakening. His patterns are breaking. And God is reminding you, when someone is truly meant for you, you will never have to battle for clarity. You will never have to fight another woman for a place in his life. You will never have to wonder if he sees you. He will choose you with certainty, with presence, with intention. You are not in competition for his heart. You are in alignment with God's timing. The wait is not punishment, it is preparation. The confusion is not rejection, it is transition. And the presence of another woman is not a threat, it is a temporary obstacle that God will remove when the moment is right. Keep your heart steady. Keep your faith anchored. Keep your spirit open. What God is aligning for you will not require you to fight for attention or prove your value. He is falling for you. But God is shaping him so that when he finally steps into your life fully, he will come with honesty, maturity, and devotion, not uncertainty, not divided loyalty, not lingering attachments. This story is still unfolding. And the ending will not look like the confusion you're seeing right now. Let God continue working behind the scenes. Your blessing is closer than it appears. Your peace is safe in God's hands. Your heart is protected. And what is meant for you is already being guided toward you. Even if he is still standing between two worlds. There is a moment coming when everything that feels tangled right now will begin to separate. God is preparing that moment even as you read this. The confusion you sense in him, the emotional fog he walks through, the hesitation that keeps him standing still, none of it is meant to last. These are temporary conditions of a heart that is waking up. When someone begins to truly see you, not just with their eyes but with their spirit, it forces them to evaluate the life they built before they met you. And this man is quietly realizing that the life he carved for himself no longer fits the man he is becoming. He feels you on a level he cannot explain, and that feeling is unraveling everything he's been holding onto out of fear. But God doesn't rush transformation. He allows discomfort to do its work. That discomfort is exactly what he's feeling now. He may not speak it out loud, but he is caught between the version of himself he has been and the version he is becoming. You didn't cause this conflict, you revealed it. Your presence exposed what was stagnant. Your energy made the truth impossible to ignore. And though he may still be physically present with another woman, emotionally a shift has already begun. Something inside him is pulling away from what isn't aligned anymore. The other woman senses this change even if she doesn't understand it. She might cling tighter. She might question him. She might become more affectionate, more watchful, more anxious. Not because she is evil or wrong, but because she knows, deep in the quiet corners of her intuition, that she is losing him. Not to you, but to truth. She feels the spiritual imbalance. She feels the emptiness between them. She feels the space that once felt secure now dissolving beneath her feet. And though you are not responsible for her pain, the situation weighs on you because your heart is sensitive and compassionate. You don't want to be the cause of anyone's suffering. You don't want drama, confusion, or chaos. You just want clarity, honesty, peace, and God sees that. God honors that. God knows your heart is not scheming or manipulative. God knows you're not trying to take something away from someone else. God knows you simply feel a connection you can't explain, one that won't leave you, one that touches you in places you didn't even know were vulnerable. And because of that purity, God is protecting you in ways you cannot yet see. He is not going to let you get entangled in something toxic. He is not going to let you be tied to someone who lives divided. He is not going to let your spirit become collateral damage in a situation that is not yet resolved, so God is slowing things down. Not to punish you, but to protect you. Not to block the connection, but to refine it. God wants both hearts to be clear, whole, and unburdened before anything comes together. Because connections built on confusion eventually collapse. But connections built after clarity, those endure. The man you're thinking about is currently being stretched by God. He feels the pull toward you, and he feels the push away from the life he's been maintaining. And when someone has lived with emotional habits for years, breaking free is not instant. It takes courage to let go of what once provided stability. It takes vulnerability to admit that he wants something deeper, something real, something he doesn't know how to explain. And because you matter to him more than he lets on, he wants to make the right move, not the easy one. He can't give you half of himself. You wouldn't accept it. And his spirit knows that. You are not the kind of woman a man approaches lightly. He feels that if he chooses you, it has to be real, intentional, wholehearted. And that requires him to confront the truth he's been avoiding, that the other woman, though familiar, is not where his heart resides anymore. He may not want to hurt her, but he can no longer deny the emptiness he feels when he's with her. He may not want to create conflict, but he can no longer pretend that he is fulfilled. And God is bringing all of this to the surface so he can no longer run from it. The part that God wants you to understand deeply is this: what is happening is not just emotional, it's spiritual. You were sent into his life as a catalyst. Not as a distraction. Not as a temporary interest. But as a light that exposes shadow. As a connection that reveals truth. As a presence that activates growth. He might think he met you by chance, but his soul recognizes you. His spirit has been searching for someone like you long before he had the courage to admit it. That kind of recognition can shake a man to his core. It makes him question every decision he made before you. It makes him rethink the relationships he kept out of convenience. It makes him confront the ways he settled for emotional survival instead of emotional fulfillment. You are not fighting the other woman. You are standing in alignment. God is fighting the spiritual battle on your behalf. God is breaking the chains of hesitation, fear, guilt, and obligation that kept him tied to her. God is showing him that love is not the same as attachment. God is showing him that comfort is not the same as connection. God is showing him that loyalty to the wrong person leads to heartbreak for everyone involved. The shift that's happening in his life is not a coincidence, it's a divine disruption. God disrupts what is misaligned before he blesses someone with what is destined. So don't mistake the slowing down for stagnation. Don't mistake the silence for absence. Don't mistake the distance for rejection. God is untangling the knots so the connection can become clean, clear, and intentional, and in the meantime, God is shaping you too. He is preserving your self-worth so you never feel you have to compete or chase. He is nurturing your intuition so you can recognize sincerity when it comes. He is strengthening your spirit so that when this man finally chooses, you are not stepping into a broken situation but into a healed beginning. What you feel for him is not delusion. What he feels for you is not imagined. But God is making sure that when this moves forward, it will not be tainted by fear, guilt, or emotional residue. He will come forward when he is free, free emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and truthfully. Free to love without hiding. Free to pursue without hesitation. Free to stand beside you without shadows lingering behind him. Your story is unfolding exactly as it should. God is not late. God is not confused. God is not withholding. The transformation is almost complete. And soon, what feels complicated now will make perfect sense. Just hold your posture. Stay in your worth. Your heart is moving toward a divine unfolding that will be worth every moment of uncertainty you are enduring right now. There comes a moment in every divinely guided connection where all the tension, confusion, and emotional noise begins to quiet. You're approaching that moment now, slowly, subtly, but steadily. God has been aligning events behind the scenes, softening hearts, dismantling old patterns, and exposing truths that were once buried under comfort and habit. Nothing that has unfolded in this situation has been random. Every delay had purpose. Every moment of silence carried instruction. Every unanswered question was not a punishment, but a protection, and now, as this story reaches its turning point, God wants you to understand the deeper truth. He is not choosing between you and another woman. He is choosing between who he has been and who he is becoming. You are simply the reflection of his future. She is the reflection of his past. And no matter how long someone stays in a space that no longer fits their soul, eventually the misalignment becomes impossible to ignore. He has reached that place now. He has been wrestling with his own heart. Not because he doesn't know what he feels, but because he does. He feels something for you that is unlike anything he has felt before. Something that makes him question every decision he settled into. Something that makes him face the parts of himself he avoided for years. Something that feels too real, too powerful, too intentional to dismiss. And because of that, he has been trying to understand whether he is ready for that kind of love, that kind of truth, that kind of emotional responsibility. The other woman was never the obstacle you imagined. She was the safety net he clung to while he avoided his own growth. But God has been removing that safety net, thread by thread. He has been showing him the hollowness in a connection that once felt stable. He has been revealing the differences between companionship and alignment, between habit and love, between familiarity and destiny. And as God continues to reveal these truths, the emotional ties that once held him back are dissolving. But here is the part God wants to make clear to you now. You were not sent into his life to disrupt his world. You were sent as the answer to a prayer he has never spoken out loud. He has secretly longed for someone who sees his heart without him having to hide or perform. Someone who understands his silence as much as his words. Someone who awakens the parts of him that have been asleep for too long. Your presence did all of that. That's why he panicked. That's why he hesitated. That's why he stood still. He didn't expect someone like you. And when a man meets someone who touches his soul before he's ready, he often retreats, not because he doesn't want her, but because he wants to become worthy of her. God has been guiding him into that worthiness. Softly, patiently, intentionally. He is breaking old emotional patterns. He is releasing guilt he carried from past mistakes. He is loosening the grip of relationships built on fear and obligation. You may not see the process, but he feels it every day. This situation has changed him. You have changed him. God is changing him, and you, God is strengthening you for the love you are about to receive. He is healing the tender places where you once doubted your value. He is expanding your capacity to receive affection without fear. He is preparing your heart for a connection that doesn't confuse you, drain you, or leave you questioning whether you are enough. You will not enter this next season insecure or anxious. You will enter it grounded, peaceful, and sure of who you are. The final part of this message is the assurance your heart has been needing: the confusion will not last. The divided energy will not continue. The emotional triangle will end. God is bringing everything into order. He is bringing truth to the surface. He is guiding each person into the place they belong. And the place you belong is not in uncertainty. It is not in competition. It is not in waiting for someone who cannot choose. God is guiding you into a love where you are cherished, prioritized, and seen. He will come toward you in a way that removes every doubt. Not halfway. Not hesitantly. Not with shadows attached. God will not allow him to come to you until the other situation is completely closed, healed, and resolved. That is why the wait has been so long. He is making sure you are not tied to emotional residue that does not belong to your story. There will come a moment, clear, quiet, undeniable, when he steps toward you with full intention. No mixed signals. No hidden attachments. No unfinished business. He will come with clarity because God has been shaping him for clarity. He will come with honesty because God has been convicting him toward truth. He will come with devotion because God has been showing him that love is not meant to be divided, and when that moment arrives, you will not feel like you took something from someone else. You will not feel guilt or heaviness. Everything will happen in divine order. You will feel peace, deep and unshakable, because God Himself will confirm that the chapter with the other woman ended the way it was meant to. And that this connection was always meant to unfold after certain spiritual work was completed. Your heart is safe. Your spirit is protected. Your story is guided. And what you've been waiting for will come, not in the confusion of the past, but in the clarity of a new beginning, one that God has been preparing for both of you with exquisite precision, and when it happens, you will look back at every moment of uncertainty, every prayer, every tear, every hesitation, and you will finally understand why God took His time. He wasn't delaying your blessing, He was perfecting it. He wasn't withholding love, he was preparing a love that would last. He wasn't confusing you, he was setting the stage for a truth so clear it would silence every doubt inside you. This is your closure. This is your confirmation. This is your reassurance that nothing has been lost. Everything is aligning. And the love that is meant for you is already on its way, whole, certain, intentional, and free.